Hello everyone, welcome. Once again, my name is Little Cesar and today I'm going to be teaching you the head spin, one of the most amazing, fabulous moves in the world of b-boying. But before that, let me give you a little background in history about the head spins, who were the first gentlemen that started doing this amazing move. If you go back in 1898, that's right, 1898, that was a long time ago, there was a gentleman, it was a street artist, and he was Arab, that's right, from the Middle East. He was one of the first ones who did it. 1933, there was another guy named Frankie. Frankie was a gymnast, and he was doing flips, and at the end of the flips, he did this amazing drill, perfect drill. It reminded me of Little Lep in the movie Beat Street. Now, who were the first guys who brought it into the hip-hop culture? Very interesting, that's right, Kid Freeze from Dynamic was one of the first guys who brought head spins into the hip-hop culture, and later on just it spread all over. It came out here to California. When you got here to California, you had Baby Huey was one of my inspirations. You know, he was one of the fastest head spinners. Also Oracle, amazing head spinner. You have Gizmo, and you had including myself out here in the West Coast. So with that being said, why don't we warm up? And before we even start, it's very important to stretch. Make sure your neck is stretched, you know, your legs, and just we're gonna warm up before we get into it. So check this out. So before we start a head spins, there's safety. That's right, there's safety. One of the things that you got to pay attention is never ever spin on a mattress or a bed, right? I mean, never. Do not ever spin also on grass or uneven surface, or where there's like really hardcore concrete that might hurt yourself. So do not do this because it's very dangerous, and really you've got to pay at your own risk. One of the things that before you even start doing the head spins, you want to actually find a location where it's a slippery floor, an even floor, and where you can have less friction, because the less friction you have, the better you will spin or the faster you will go. So before we start a head spins, you need to have choices. And what we did when we first came out was actually we actually used a beanie or a hat. You can use a beanie or a hat. This particular beanie is a little bit custom made, because you can see that there is a pad in here. So you can actually go and get yourself an actual beanie with a special pad. Then we use a knee pad. And what we did was we opened the knee pad and we stretched it and we put it all the way in our head. It was real tight. We looked kind of funky. It was real funny looking, but it did the job. It actually worked. It wasn't hurting. Other people would do this too. I mean, like I said, we put the knee pad inside the beanie and then double spin, which is more of a comfortable position. But then later on in 1984, by my boy named Ozrock, he had the first helmet. And he brought it for some reason, and I was like, you know, so fascinated by the helmet. I wanted to spin on this helmet. We tried it, and it was kind of weird at first. It was uncomfortable. You know, it's like you got to get used to it, you know, because it's a different feeling, you know, with this and this. And Oscar gave me my first helmet, and ever since then, I owned my first helmet since 1984. And I chose to practice spinning on the helmet because of the surface is a little more slippery, and there's also less friction, so it means, you know, I can go a little bit faster. You know, it's not easier. None of these are easier. It's all the same. The concept is pretty much the same, but it does help because it has less friction. First of all, get on a headstand position. You gotta stand where you feel comfortable and steady. Once you have that, you actually open up your legs straight up, and then your arms are right in front of you. So basically, what I'm explaining is like being upside down. Your hands right in front of you, okay? Now, before you even start the head spin, your legs are going to wind, and then they're going to whip. As you're whipping, it's very important to actually have the upper body, and your hands, they're going to rotate before your legs. So it kind of looks like a twist of flex. So it looks like you're doing this. The reason is because when you wind your heads, when you wind your legs are going so fast that if you don't do that, then your legs are gonna get there before your hands, and then you're gonna fall. That's why we need our upper body to go first. So when you whip, then the legs catches up, and you're actually in sync, and you're able to actually catch it again, and then you're able to do it again and spin again, and then just continuously doing the same thing. So I'm going to demonstrate the head spin. Before I do that, it's very important that your eyes and your head follow your arms as your arms is rotating and you wind your legs. This is what I'm talking about. Wind. Now, if you notice, my legs, they maintain open, very important. If they don't maintain open, and if they're not straight up, then what happens is that you're gonna bend and then you're gonna fall. Another tip is that people, what they do is they go in a comfortable position, and their legs are not in the right position. So that's another one. Your legs need to be in a certain position, straight up, actually rotating it all the way around, or else you're going to fall, because what happens naturally is that your legs, they want to bring you down, and that is because your legs are not in the right position. It's very, very important. Another one also is people seem to bend the arch like this. And the reason they arch like this is because their legs are actually, they're down. So when your legs are straight up, then automatically your back gets straight. That's why it's very important to do that. And those are some of the few tips so you don't fall and you can do a continuous head spin.